dentistry, you have to be quite good with your art and craft skills. And building things is really engineering in the mouth. A lot of the general public don't really know what the difference is being a general dentist to a dental specialist. And I said to my dad, I'm like, that where that uni is, you need to hang in there. You need to make it to see me go to that university. So I'll work hard to go to university. You need to promise to work hard to stay alive. So you see me go there.
Parents, they do the best that they can, right, with what they have.
Exactly.
I mean, you can't blame them for anything else.
I have a strong belief when things are not going well in your life, focus on the things that are going really well and work really hard on those, because it will be those things that will pull you through.
In this episode, I sit down with Dr. Janice Kan, a specialist prosthodontist, practice owner, and educator, who's carved a name for herself in one of dentistry's most demanding fields. From adapting to life in Australia at a young age to becoming a trusted expert in restorative and aesthetic dentistry, her origin story reflects precision, resilience, and purpose. Janice shares how personal experiences shaped her philosophy of care and how she balances clinical excellence with empathy. This is such an inspiring conversation about a journey around overcoming all odds to reach the pinnacle of success, while also building a meaningful legacy that will last for generations to come. Please enjoy this episode of The Way with Cheech Foo, featuring Dr. Janice Kan. Welcome, Dr. Janice Kan. Thank you so much for coming on to the show.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you for inviting me.
No, definitely. I mean, you were on the list, right? I've seen you at other events before, and the stories that you've been sharing so far was amazing. I knew I had to get you on. So thank you for making the time.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
Perfect. So first up, how are you? How's things, right?
Things is always a bit crazy.
Yep.
Okay. There's a lot to juggle. There's family, there's work. Then there is running a business. And so all around hectic. I was also studying at the same time. And so literally juggling 10 balls in the air. But I think the dust is settling a bit and I need to just refocus and see how to prioritize things.
Yep.
And so, so that's next goal.
Yeah.
For the next 2-3 months.
Okay.
And then restart the 2026 fresh.
Okay.
That's the plan. Yeah.
So, and I understand that you've actually been also traveling recently. Is that right,
yes,
Janice?
The traveling, some part of it is to do with some leadership roles in dental organizations. But a good part of it is part of the Senior Executive MBA program or the degree that I've been studying. So as part of that degree, we need to travel overseas, such as India, California, and also Germany to actually experience and learn about the business culture there and learn from them. So that's why there's been a lot of traveling. Yes.
Got it. Must be quite tiring.
Tiring is yes. Is literally just flying one place to the next, and then maybe 2 of the business things are back to back.
Yep.
And then, but it's been exciting. I think what it is the adrenaline rush. You're learning a lot. You're meeting other new people, got 10 million ideas in your head that you want to implement and want to make a change. And I think now the hard part is suddenly the dust has settled a bit. Is like, what do I occupy my time with? But I'm sure I will come up with something. I always come up with something to keep myself busy.
Yep, absolutely. And the thing is, we're going to delve a lot more into that stage of your life of leadership, right, and being an authority figure in your industry. But I definitely want to kind of wind it all the way back, right? Because as the podcast series is called The Way of Cheech Foo, so usually the way, right, is preceded by the where you're from.
Yes.
Yeah? And we all have our origin story. Janice, can we go all the way back? Tell me, who was Janice Kan before all of this today? All right. Let me know where you're from. Give me the whole spiel. Love it. Yeah.
I was originally born in Hong Kong. I lived in Hong Kong until I was 9 years old. So the roots is basically Hong Kong. And for a long time, even in my 20s, when people ask me where you're from, I would say, I'm from Hong Kong.
Yep.
And my friends would look at me funny going, no, we're from Australia, but maybe you're from Hong Kong. But I think it's just deep down inside us. That's where your roots are already from. And you always have that sense of pride and belonging to that part of life. So I grew up in Hong Kong from a middle lower class family. We were living in an apartment that was really old, built pre-war, 7 floors up, no lift or escalator or anything, 100 steps up every day. And we were above a wet market. So it really is as grassroots as you can imagine it to be. So I had my mum, my dad, and a younger sister. And it was a family of 4, very humble beginnings.
Yeah.
And my parents were not highly educated. And they were really party animals. And so absolutely, they met on the beach, okay?
Wow.
And so my mum used to sneak out with outfits and hide them in public toilets so she can go clubbing at night. So they were really, truly the party animals of the heydays of the 60s and 70s. But then when it came down to parenthood, they became tiger parents. They were the typical tiger parents, and they would team up with other parents and sit down and type up a whole bunch of test and exam papers and swap it with them and then make us do the drills. And they enrolled us in one of the top or the best girls' school in Hong Kong as well.
Okay.
So back in Hong Kong, we had tests and exams since year 1. And so that was kind of the routine that we got drilled into, that sense of responsibility. You have to do your homework, you need to get this done. And of course, back then, you don't have that sense of responsibility. You're just scared of your parents. Okay, and 90% was the minimum. So I'll be crying all the way home with the test and exam paper if I didn't get 90%. But balanced with that, my parents were very loving. My dad is extremely humorous. They always joked about, and we really enjoyed having family time. So there's a balance. It's not just a crazy tiger parenting. They really showed us the balance, the work-life balance. So we will work really hard during the week, and on the weekend we'll spend family time together. And it's that balance that really kind of shaped how even I operate at the moment. I try to work really hard during the work week, but I'll try and hands off, not do anything to do with work where possible on the weekend, because I want to define that line. So I think that started from that, how my parents defined it.
Right.
Yeah.
And just really quickly for the listeners and the watchers, right? Because we actually have a bit of an international audience, right? What part of Hong Kong were you at? Yeah. If you don't mind.
No, I'm more than happy. Yeah. So we lived in an area called Quarry Bay. And it's right next to what they call the Tai Koo area, where the sugar factory was. And unfortunately, the street has actually got bought out now and is going through demolition. They actually found a World War II bomb when they were digging it up just last week.
Oh, wow.
And so about 3 years ago, I went back with my family to Hong Kong. We did a walk down the memory lane with my son, my mom, took photos of the building, stood there counting the floors up to see which apartment was actually ours. Okay. Because we knew it was the last bit and they were going to demolish the whole street. The whole building, the whole street, everything was getting redeveloped. So that street will be gone. Well, it's gone now. It's with a big hole and a bomb hiding underneath it. But then that's the street. And people in Hong Kong will know exactly where it is if you bring it up. So that was the street I grew up on. And used to catch the school bus or the tram to go to Causeway Bay, which is where my school was, the St. Paul Convent School, which is one of the top girls' school.
Oh, fantastic!
Yeah, in Causeway Bay. So that's my life, basically.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Actually, it's very interesting to find out because my wife's from Quarry Bay.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. I remember you telling me at the ball. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So she was actually mentioning about the bomb. And she was so shocked. He was like,
oh my God, that was bomb.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I remember your wife said that she went to the kindergarten, which my younger sister also went to. We were speaking on the ball the other night when we met. Yeah, so that was good.
Yeah.
So very humble beginnings. Okay. It's and a trip down memory lane. I always, whenever I go back to Hong Kong, I love going past the apartment to have a look.
Yeah.
And I love traveling by tram
Mm.
up and down the Hong Kong Island, just remembering, oh, this building used to be there. This is my school. This is where it takes the turn. My grandparents used to live in North Point, which is just one suburb away. It's just going up and down that strip. I love just watching the buildings and life go by because it just brings back so much memories of growing up.
Yeah.
Strip.
It's so iconic, that kind of that strip, right? And that double story, really thin kind of tram.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, I wish they would never get rid of that. Like,
Well, hoping not. We always go on the top floor and sit right up the front and just watch it daytime, nighttime. And I still do that every time I go back, just to reminisce old times.
Okay. So a lot of good memories, definitely from that period. Yeah.
And I think going back to your question earlier about my parents, besides them pushing very hard in terms of studies, spending time on the weekend, one thing my mum and dad have always said is, I don't want you to compete with anyone else. All I want you is do your best and compete with yourself. You just need to try and do better than yourself in the past. And I think that is actually really, really important, because I even told that to my son, like, no, I don't care whether the other kid's doing better or whatnot. That might be inspiration for you or drive you. But really, if you have put 100% and if you get like 80%, fantastic. But if you put 100% and you got 51%, then you should be very grateful that you put in your 100% and you got 51%. And I wouldn't care if it was just 51%, as long as you tried your best. So that's one thing my parents are like put into us from very young age. And I think that's actually very wise wisdom, very wise words.
And I think it's also very healthy as well, right? Because the opposite, I would say, is unhealthy.
Oh, yeah.
Right? When you're pitted against your peers, right? I mean, you hear stories, right, of friends whereby, like, the cousins,
even siblings.
I'm
not saying my parents get it right all the time, but there's sibling rivalry, and whatnot. And they will say horrible things to my younger sister. Oh, you will never be as good as Janet. Like, bad things.
Really?
They do that too.
Yeah.
But then, and that, I think, in time gave poor Judith a complex.
Okay.
But then the thing is, at the same time, they're actually mixed in things that are actually, correct.
Yes.
And so I just need to take all the good bits now and then apply it to my parents.
Sift it all out, right?
Sift it all out. Okay. So, so I think that's how my upbringing was. It's quite funny. I mean, it's experimental. It's parenting. It's experimental. They don't really know what they're doing.
Correct.
Okay, yeah.
And I think that's the thing, right? Like, parents, like, they do the best that they can, right, with what they have.
Exactly.
I mean, like, you can't blame them for anything else.
I can't even say that I am doing as good parenting as my parents did for me right now, because at the moment I'm so splitted up with work and commitments. I'm not always home. Even if I wanted to type up the test and exam papers and tag a parent, I just don't have the time or the capacity. And I'm not as patient as my father. So I get very angry and frustrated very easily.
Fiery.
Yeah, which is just bad. And I think my mum said when I grew up, like, if I didn't get things right, I mean, they will threaten me and then they'll push me hard, and I would just harden up and get on with it.
Yeah.
And they can't do that to my younger sister because she would just break down. So we're very different people.
Okay.
And my son is a bit like Judith, my younger sister. So she will easily break. And I don't know, and I don't have the patience or whatnot to be able to do the,
the softer touch.
I just can't do it. It's not in me.
It's not in you.
It's not in me. So if I go and do it, it just ends badly.
It feels almost inauthentic. For you to do that?
Absolutely inauthentic.
Yeah.
So if I was to say, oh, you've done fantastic, and some of my staff would go, okay, that just came out wrong. And so when I do say it, they'll go, okay, that you really meant that if you actually said that.
Correct.
They can tell the organic and authentic and not authentic.
One that is actually forced and one that is like just literally natural that came out of you. Said, oh yeah, that's a good job.
Yeah.
You did well.
Okay, so I think bits and pieces I took away from my parents, not all.
Yeah.
And I have to question, how good am I really as a parent with the time and commitment and so many things I juggle, because my mum was a full-time mum. like, you can't compare. Everyone, I think, just ends up doing the best they can.
Yeah.
And maybe there is no perfect. You just need to do the best, and maybe good enough is good enough.
Yeah.
Okay. And I think that part is still things I struggle with, because I've been taught to be a perfectionist, do it really good, do it right. But I'm now at this age starting to realize, well, I can try and be perfect and do it as best I can.
Yep.
But there really is no perfect, and you just need to feel comfortable in your own skin.
Yeah.
That, well, I can't get it perfect. This is the best I can come up with, and maybe perhaps this is already good enough in my capacity, and just be able to live with it and feel comfortable about it. And that, I think, is a backfire from the perfectionist attitude that my parents also trained me to have. But they're now in my mid-40s going, maybe that wasn't such a good idea because I'm killing myself.
like you're holding yourself to this like standard.
Yeah, and then maybe I need to cut myself some slack.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think that balance, I think, and to the point, I started parenting my son about being perfect, and that created a problem because I would say, okay, you're writing this, look how messy it is, write it again. And then the teacher said, okay, well, one time he handed in a whatever thing he's writing because it wasn't neat, he rubbed it all off. And so he basically handed in an empty page.
No way.
Because it wasn't neat.
Ah.
Now that's not good. So then what the teacher did is they took away the eraser from him and go, if there is anything you don't like, just cross it out. So, and then I'm like, okay, that's on me. That's on me. Get it perfect, get it right.
Not get rid of the evidence.
Don't get rid of it actual working out. What are you doing?
That's quite interesting, fascinating behavior.
I keep thinking maybe the less I do parenting, the better, because I seem to be messing it up more and doing it good.
Wow.
So we all live and learn.
Yeah.
We all live and learn.
Yeah, no. I think like life comes with a lot of sacrifices. Like there's always things that you can do well, right? And then that's it. Like you put your best foot forward, right? And then you see how life takes you. Like I think that's
I have a strong belief that fate happens in very funny ways. So if you want something so bad, you work really hard at it and it's not working out.
Yeah.
It just means that is not the path. And something better or some other alternative will come along, and that's where you're meant to be. So I never really look back and think, oh, what if, or what do I regret? Because there's absolutely no point. Because I just have to believe whatever I've landed with now is really where I'm supposed to be, and I have to make the most of it. And I strongly believe that. So, and I think maybe with that attitude is good, because I live life without a regret. And if something didn't work in the past, it's not meant to be. I've learned something from it, move on. So I think that is important. And I never really keep trying at the same thing. Let's say if I was to apply to study in a specialist program, and I'll be honest, if I applied once and I didn't get him, I'm just going to move on, because I don't think that might be the path. I mean, thankfully I applied, I got in, and that was it. And even with the whole MBA thing, I just went for the interview, and then the program director is like, okay, well, you better start planning your schedule because start next year. I'm like, hold on a second, so what? But then pretty much I went in there with the mindset, well, if I didn't get accepted, who cares?
Yes.
Okay, I can still move on and I'll still study.
Yep.
I can study something else and I can work as a prosthodontist anyway. It doesn't matter if I didn't get in.
It's not going to stop you from
It's not going to
achieving
stop
what
me.
you want.
But then if it is meant to happen, then
It will happen.
okay, then it will happen. So
Yeah.
I strongly believe that.
Yeah. Okay. And we would probably touch on that a little bit later as well. Hong Kong, St. Paul's, right? And was that up until you were 9 years old, or what is that? Is that like what do you call it? Form 5, grade 5? What do they?
Grade 5.
Grade 5. Okay.
In Hong Kong, it was year 4.
Yeah.
But then when we came to Australia,
Okay.
that I entered year 5. And that's just how the year transitioned.
Got
So
it.
I came to Australia at
Yeah.
about 9.5 years old.
Okay.
Okay, and that was in year 5.
Okay, year 5.
I
is it?
was in year 5.
Okay. And what was the impetus, the reason for that move?
Oh, it was basically what everyone at the time was worried about. It was the handover back to China.
Right.
That
97?
was the drive. That was, So
Oh.
my grandparents actually Well, what happened was
Yep.
in 1987, when Margaret Thatcher went to visit Beijing, that everyone in Hong Kong started freaking out.
Yeah.
And that was when the exodus started happening. So literally every other week,
Yep.
someone at school will be moving to Hong Kong, US, or Canada. Pick one.
Right.
Kids were leaving, families were leaving.
Yeah.
And my grandparents actually left with my uncle to go to Perth first. And so they actually arrived in 87.
Yep.
And then we came in 89.
89.
And then my auntie, my mum's younger sister, her family then came in 91.
Okay.
So then my mum's side of the family all shifted to Perth. And so that was the reason. I think they were just, they were just fearful of the unknown. I mean, and heaps of these families ultimately ended up moving back to Hong Kong. I've got friends of mine who've moved to Canada during that same period.
Yep.
They're now all relocated, grandparents and friends my age and their kids all moved back to Hong Kong from Canada.
Like a reverse exodus.
There's a reverse exodus. So it's happened. So, but I think pretty much as a dental specialist, it's very hard to go and move back because your degree may not get recognized. And you have to sit exams again.
Yeah.
And so there was a cutting point because when the handover happened, it was 97. And I think at the time, if you started your dental degree or graduated before 97, it's still part of Commonwealth. So your dental degree gets automatically recognized in Hong Kong.
Okay.
But not after 97. So, and I started my dental degree in like, I think 97.
97.
So I think there was a cut-off point. And I'll be honest, if I was to go and move back, I probably won't be used to the way of life, the pace. And people actually can tell. And I can speak fluent Cantonese, but then they can tell that I didn't grow up there.
They know.
They know. Yeah. Maybe the way, maybe my I don't think I've got an accent, but they know the Cantonese I speak.
Yeah.
It's from like 30 years ago. I don't have the current slang and maybe the way I dress, the way I come across. They can tell you did not grow up here.
Yeah, you grew up somewhere else. I don't know where, but it's somewhere.
Somewhere else. So they can tell. Okay. And I probably cannot blend in. I'm very naive. I probably won't survive. It's a dog well. Like,
oh no, you're too hard on yourself, Janice. You're too hard on yourself.
I'm not so sure. I'm like, probably say the wrong thing again. Thinking, I don't know. But I think, so that's where that transition happened.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. And like, as a 9-year-old, did you have any idea what was happening, or you were just literally following your parents, was following your uncle and just came along for the ride?
Absolutely no idea. It sounded pretty cool because everyone's moving overseas. How fancy.
No.
Okay, it sounded cool. I had no idea what Australia was about. I think parents were worried, oh shit, okay, we're going to need to speak English. Okay, and the girls don't really know English. But we went to a private school, and that school meant that when we arrived, I could understand most of what they're saying.
Okay.
Sometimes the accent catches me out, the Australian accent, but that I couldn't speak fluently, which is bad because you can hear what people say about you, but you can't respond.
Yeah.
And so that was tricky. And but I had no clue. It was my first airplane ride. I've never flown an airplane before.
Right.
And the first trip was to Australia.
Wow.
And
got it.
When we got to the school, we got to Perth, they sent us to to Victoria Park Primary School. That was the first primary school. Because at the time, there was a English for second language class. And so my sister and I got thrown into the class to integrate us into the Australian schooling system.
Yeah, ESL, yes.
Yeah. And then we only stayed in the Victoria Park Primary School for 1 month. And they're like, you two are good enough, get out. So they sent us where we lived because we lived with my grandparents before when we first arrived at Wilson Primary School.
Okay.
Then we went to school there. And it took about 2 years to be completely fluent. And to the point that you can sleep talk in English. And that's when my mom knew I was fluent. So at first you will have to think in Chinese and then translate in your head and then say it in English or the other way around when you're trying to understand. But then I think about 18 months to 2 years, then whatever thought you'll have will come out
Right.
in whatever language. So there's no that slow processing speed.
There's no conversion
And
anymore.
there's no conversion anymore.
Yeah.
So when I first arrived, it was hard because I was actually quite advanced in maths. I was at least 2 years ahead.
Not surprised.
No,
Not surprised.
but then they didn't advance me, so I fell back. And
Didn't really advance
I was
credit.
really good at spelling, and I
Yes.
remember getting called out because they said egg, like in an Australian accent, and I spelled that one word. I'm like, I know how to spell egg.
Yeah.
But then it's just the way they made the sound. I got it wrong, and the teacher will go, "Oh my God,
Serious?
you can spell these words." And I'm like,
Yeah.
this is like kindergarten level. Like, what are these words? They're only like, a maximum 6-letter
Letters.
words. I mean, what's going on there? So I was really ahead.
Yep.
But then they didn't. We were coloring dinosaurs in year 5. I don't know why.
Wow.
Why we? And then my parents were very concerned.
Yeah.
Because in Hong Kong, they typed exam and test papers. We had a curriculum. We learned about the structure of eye and digestive system year 2 in Hong Kong.
That is amazing.
I remember learning
that
it.
is so early.
And that's why I loved the human body. I used to watch the BBC Human Body series and flip through human biology textbooks when I was 6, 7 years old. Yeah, and I realized then we only learned the structure of eye here in Australia in year 9.
Wow.
But we learned it in year 2. Maybe not the technical terms, but everything I actually already knew.
Yeah.
So year 5 comes, coloring dinosaurs, spelling very basic words. My parents were very worried then. And
by the way, all the dinosaur lovers out there, we both love dinosaurs too. So
yeah.
Nothing
I'm
against
so
dinosaurs. No anti-dinosaur people.
Not
in the
any
videos.
dinosaurs.
Yeah. Okay.
What then happened was my parents got quite concerned because they're like, okay, these two after school every day, they're playing video games or riding the bicycle, catching tadpoles along Canning River. What are they doing? And then there's
tadpoles.
No, there's on Canning River. You just ride a bike there, and there's tadpoles, and then
Wait, this is scoop in your hand or
you scoop in hand, bucket, net, whatever.
I love it.
And some kids actually chop them up and pretending they're selling fish at a market. Okay, like
chop them up, like, as in literally. Oh my God, it's hilarious.
Not us. We're like animal lovers.
Okay,
we don't do that.
Yeah.
But then the thing is, so that was how we spent and climbing trees.
Yep.
And then my parents got very concerned. They're like, oh my God, they don't have homework to do. There's no tests, no exam papers. And then you get a school report and they're like, how did you even get ranking? Like you didn't
there were
do
no
anything.
rankings, is that right?
No, there was numbers like 1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay.
And
But
they're
they
like,
wanted a...
how did you even come up with these numbers? You have no assessments. And so it got my parents so worried that they went and spoke to someone and got ourselves a whole set of World Book and Childcraft Encyclopedia, which has supposedly following the curriculum, or the school curriculum follows that, and in hope that we'll just please read something, please do something with your...
I have some form of measurement, right?
No, they just bought the thing and go, please do something, because they don't know. My mum can't speak English, can't read English, so she can't be the tiger parent typing test and exam papers. Dad's working, and Dad doesn't know what the Australian curriculum, and there's no other tiger parent swapping test papers, right? So they're on their own. They just basically bought the encyclopedia and go, please do something with it. And no, we did, okay? We did read the bits we like, okay? And then, mucked around. And so that's how we got through. And then I think at that point, it was really strange because they literally went from tiger parenting to free-based learning. go and do. And I think that is actually good because how much tiger parenting can you do all the way up high school? In a way, they have instilled the format, the attitude, and tested your capacity, so they know what you're capable of. They've kind of built those skill set in us, so we can then apply and do learning ourselves
as you journey on.
And I think it wasn't intentional. I know that they would have really wanted to try otherwise.
If they could have understood the curriculum and understood the whole system, they would.
They would do that maybe,
as they do, right?
And maybe back then, if there was Kumon, I'm sure we'll be Kumoning, okay? But I think no. But then because there wasn't such thing, they let go probably earlier than they wanted to. But I think it ends up turning out to be the right thing.
The right thing.
Because they already built us up, so we have the skills. And so I remember in year 5, year 6, year 7, you have little school class project. Yep. And I remember a family doctor and his wife, okay, also Cantonese, and they would be like, oh, my daughter has got this, like, homework to do, projects, and and their daughters went to Penrose, very fancy. And they were asking my parents, so when your daughter gets a school project, what do you do to help? Because they helped a lot. And my parents like, I don't even know what school project she gets. She just figures out and sorts it out herself. And so the other parents was going, oh my God, how can that be? And I'm like, well, there's an encyclopedia. They've got a school project. They have to plan themselves. So then that kind of skill somehow was built into us. So when a school project comes, we know, okay, we will need to organize ourselves, making sure we sort it out by a deadline, plan our own time, do the research with the encyclopedia, and just sort it ourselves out.
Yeah.
Which I know the other kids that had a lot more hand-holding were not able to.
Yeah.
And so in a way, it kind of worked out the way it did. Yeah.
So you have that kind of balance. You can see that balance in you in terms of like, you know, values from earlier and a little bit later.
And the hardcore military style training earlier helped to build later on. So it didn't just happen. Like they did my tiger parenting days from my parents built up a good solid foundation and with sense of responsibility and organizational skills that allowed us to apply on in the upper primary school years and then roll into high school. Yeah.
Okay. So that was year 5, year 6, right? What happened after that? So did you remain in that area? So in Wilson Primary?
Well, Wilson Primary, I stayed there until middle of year 7.
Okay.
And that was around the time when we built a house and then we moved to Willerton.
Okay.
So then I went to Rostrata Primary School.
Got it.
And that was unfortunately around the same time my dad got diagnosed with cancer. And then so within a short time, I have to grow up really quickly.
Okay.
And so moving to Rostrata Primary, that was the period when I suddenly realized there are other kids who are really, really smart and doing really, really good and know better than what I did. Because I think in Wilson Primary, I was one of the top students. Okay, well, I was a top student in Hong Kong. Then it took a while to rebuild myself and then got myself back on my feet at Wilson Primary. And then when I Rostrata, I realized I wasn't as good as or advanced as the other kids. And I need to really pick up my game. And that was the time when I started going to my parents' bedroom at night and crying that I felt I wasn't good enough. And then so, poor them, okay? I mean, they don't know what to do, okay? And then it's pretty much just relying on me to dig myself out of the hole. And so, but then within 6 months, Rostrata Primary, then boom, is going to Willerton Senior High School.
Okay.
So I did my high school at Willerton.
Guess who else went to Willerton?
Like most ethnic children.
Yeah, true. Yeah, great school. I'm not biased, so
it was very diverse back then. I know it's not so diverse now in terms of the ethnicity of the student cohort. Yeah. But back then, we were still a minority, definitely. Okay. But we're talking about 30-something years ago, 30 years ago now.
Were you like a handful of the... Because you're Chinese, yes?
Yes, I'm Chinese. Yeah. And so we have Chinese people too, but definitely I think ethnically back then we were still less than 10% of the year group. Okay, it wasn't really a dominant. Yeah. But we were also the smart ones. Okay, I still kept the photo of the year 12, the square, what we call it, the photos. Yes. Pretty much. Yeah. Here's my lovely, lovely girlfriend of mine, Claire. She's the only one who's not ethnic in that sense. No, but I give him credit. She ducks it. She's absolutely amazing. Oh wow! Yeah, she even ducked engineering. I think when we got to UWA, my lovely friend was.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, I was the stupid psychic next to her.
No. Oh yeah, we all shine our own different ways.
In different ways.
Yes.
In different ways.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So I think high school years was difficult. I mean, I found my ground. The likes mingle. I ended up sitting with a whole group of girls who were all quite studious and who all ended up being being basically at the top of the year group. And I don't know why. I don't know. Maybe people somehow just assimilate and find each other's
Gravitate,
they
right?
gravitate. Yeah. So I
Yeah.
basically stayed with them, and things was. And you're getting older, you're getting more comfortable in your own skin. So that was good. But I think the hard part during that whole period of time was that my dad was falling sick, and by the start of year 12, he passed away. So that was a difficult time to navigate, not so much about schooling anymore, but it's things happening at home and focusing and being responsible as the older child of the family. My job is to not let my family worry. So, and my job is therefore do the best I can at school and not bother them anything to do with school. So I still remember in year 11, I went into the teacher's room to pick your own year 11, year 12 subjects, because that would dictate what you're going to do. So then there was counselling about what subjects you want to do. I went in on my own and just picked, I wanted to do medicine or dentistry or engineering. I just went in there on my own and just picked out everything I want. My parents really did not have involvement. And kudos to their prior years of tiger parenting and building us up with their values, virtues, and sense of responsibility that basically rode through the whole of high school.
Okay.
So, yeah, one of the most memorable thing was, I think it was start of year 12.
Yep.
And there was an award ceremony, and I actually managed to get 12 A's. So it was basically straight 8s in my school report. So got awarded. I was one of 2. And my dad got pushed in a wheelchair by my mum, and I still remember them coming through at the back of the gymnasium at Willerton and to watch me get that award. And I was standing there holding my tears back and trying to be just to make my dad proud, make my mum proud. So, I mean, the key thing for me was so they don't have to worry about me. And that I will be. So my dad has always said, mate, he's never worried about me or Judith. He's always been just worried about my mother. Okay. But then he also trusts that his girls will look after the family when it gets to that stage. So I think that was one thing. And I think one of the other memorable thing was it was in year 10. And so this is a couple of years, or actually about 18 months before my dad passed away. And I was in my school uniform. I was 15, and I had to go to Sir Charles Gardner Hospital because my dad just had a biopsy done. And then they know that he's got liver cancer. And I knew that. But then they were going to tell us what the prognosis is and treatment was going to be. And I remember like reading through that encyclopedia about treatment for liver cancer, what options there are. Yeah. And then I went there, and so the 2 doctors pulled me into a side room and sat me down, told me about the prognosis. And I remember talking to them about, can you surgically remove part of the liver? Can you do chemo? Can you do this? Can you do that? And then they're like, no, we can't cut out liver areas too big. We can do chemo and this and that, and how serious it was. And then after that, I have to go into my dad's hospital room and break the news to him and mum.
So is that the first time you knew it was cancer, or did you know beforehand?
No,
already?
Dad had nasopharyngeal cancer when I was in year 7, and then it got cured after 2 years, but then it metastasized to the liver. So we knew something is up with the liver, but we didn't know how serious it was until that moment. And I remember my mum and dad in the room, and I've only recently spoke of this to my mum again. And then what actually happened, she was actually hiding in the toilet crying when I had a conversation with her dad, because that room at Sir Charles Gardner was facing the UWA University Clock Tower. And I said to my dad, I'm like, that where that uni is, you need to hang in there. You need to make it to see me go to that university. So I'll work hard to go to university. You need to promise to work hard to stay alive. So you see me go there. But then my dad didn't make it. And I think the hard part is, and my mum at that point is already bawling her eyes out in the toilet. Okay. But she heard it and she still recalls that moment. So there's certain moments in my life that it's just imprinted in my memory. And I think at the time, like, again, that sense of responsibility, because I made a promise. And if I made a promise, I will always deliver. If I'm not sure, I will never make the promise. And that kind of habit, which I still keep to today, is that if I've promised and said I will do something, I will always get it done. I'll do it well and do it on time.
Yeah.
But also means I get very annoyed when other people don't do that. Because I was saying, you either just say you won't do it,
Yeah.
or you won't do it by a deadline. You can time the deadline however long you want, as long as you meet it. I don't care, but don't
disappoint me.
Don't set a deadline, but then completely breach it like it doesn't matter. Then what's the point of setting the deadline?
As they call in Cantonese, do not 逢非機 me, please. Right?
Yeah, I have a huge problem with that. Okay, I get really annoyed.
I get it.
I get really annoyed. So again, that is maybe you can say a quirk or attitude that I have right now that started because of upbringing. So I now, in reflection, more recently when I was writing up the speech that I gave about the migrant story, reflecting, I realized a lot of the quirks, a lot of things that I behave or act a lot of it is from the upbringing, which is basically what you're saying is about your wave is embedded all along, and it explains a lot why I am who I am now.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. How close were you with your father?
Very close. I actually look a lot like my father. And in turn of that, I look like his mother. So, and we never realized this until we saw my grandmother in her older days. We went back to Hong Kong and we saw her at a hospital. And my younger sister, Judith, looked at her and go, oh my God, Janice, this is what you're going to look like when you're older. Like when you're young, people will say you look like this uncle or auntie.
Yeah, whose product are you? Are you the product of your mom or your...
Yeah. So, and you're like, no, I don't look like that. And then now you're like, oh my God, I do actually really look like him. So I look really similar to my dad, and my son looks like my father.
Okay, so you have two sons, correct?
I got one son.
One son, okay.
One son. I named him Michael because that's my dad's name. Michael.
That's very beautiful.
Yeah, so it's a memory of my dad, and there's certain ways, certain angles that we photograph my son. Is like, oh my God, that's dad.
Wow.
And for me, and I never realized this, so when I meet aunties and uncles of my dad that are close to him, and now a certain way I speak or talk or mannerism, they're like, oh my God, this is like you remind us of your dad because this is what he will say or he will do or his mannerisms. And I don't know that. So this is the beautiful thing, right? This is like genetics at play. So to me, it feels like that he has never really left because a part of him lives in me and now in my son. And so what we even do, even though Michael has never met my dad, obviously, we'll go to, let's say, dim sum and go, oh, Gong Gong used to love eating this, okay, and we watch this vampire movie with him too, and this and that. And so to the point, my son feels that he knows my dad, and he will even say, oh, I wonder if Gong Gong would like this. I wonder if Gong Gong would be proud of me. And when he sees this, okay, what would Gong Gong say? Like, he's never met my dad. So I think it went from a period of grief. There was obviously a good long period of grief to the point that it does turn into a celebration, that you celebrate him and you incorporate him in your everyday living and conversation like they haven't left. And genetically, he lives in me and my son and is still continuing. And it really warms my heart to know that even though he's gone, but he's not really gone.
The memories live on. The
memories live on, and we celebrate him the way we do. And genetically, he always lives in us. So it's actually very nice to feel. And I've shared this story with some friends and families who have lost their loved ones because obviously it's really hard for them, particularly their kids will be kind of my age when I lost my dad. I lost my dad at 16, but now they have seen me moved on and grown from it. And so they always will try to get me to speak to their children or speak to them. Yeah, and I think it's a nice way. I never knew that it was a powerful thing that I can actually share and inspire people besides the dentistry part, like this part, like the elements of it that I can actually help people. So I think this one is really warming to my heart and has been happening a lot more lately. Unfortunately, as we get older, we have friends and family who starts not feeling well and then fall sick. Yeah.
Fortunately or unfortunately, experiencing the circle of life much more earlier than others. I think that's the key. And one thing you also mentioned as well is that when he was sick, right, because you were the one that could actually speak, read, write English, right, you had to do a lot of heavy lifting on that part, right? How was that part? Like, what did you have to do? Like,
Okay,
yeah.
like the hospital stuff. Okay, then I have to be responsible. At first, my parents didn't want to get any Centrelink payments or anything. They just burnt through their life savings because they don't want to dip into government help. And also because they have that positive hope he's going to get better and then we'll be back on our feet and he'll be working again. And so towards later part, then it was we accompany my mother to like deal with insurance stuff, Centrelink payments, filling out forms to apply for things, and going to the bank, and basically all of those stuff started landing on me, and so that happened really early. So I think it's in hindsight when you think about it, it's like, oh my God, you have to do that when you're so young and stuff.
Yeah.
But at the time, you just don't think it. You just do it.
Yeah.
You don't question it. Well, I can do it. Yeah, I will just do it.
I mean, there's no choice. It is what it is.
It is what it is. Yeah.
Right.
But you don't go back and go, oh my God, I was so good. Okay, I can't believe No, it was just something that you had to do. So you did, and then again, this becomes a problem later on in life because then I will then look at others and go, okay, you have had some hardships. Okay. Yeah. I think like you can sit and dwell, or you just get on with it and just do. And not everyone's made like me. Okay. Yep. I will just end up focusing on things that I need to do, keep myself occupied. And I have a strong belief when things are not going well in your life, focus on the things that are going really well and work really hard on those, because it will be those things that will pull you through. And so again, because of upbringing, because of the way I have kind of had to kind of navigate my own life, then I become less tolerant or patient, which I'm working on, on like the resilience, the grit and the resilience that people I feel really need to build up to be successful long term. Okay, because life is not always going to be great. And when it's not, what do? Well, hard work, resilience, and just stay positive and just get it through. Yeah. And I've never really looked back and go, and have pride. Oh, how good was I? I can't believe it. No, like I've never actually looked at that, looked at it from that lens. Yeah.
Understand. So, and he was buried in Perth, or was he taken back to Hong Kong?
He actually died at home.
He died at home.
So he died at home, and then I had to organize his funeral, and then he was buried here.
He's buried here.
He's buried here, and so we buried him in in Netherlands.
Yep, Karakata ceremony.
Karakata, yep. And so we even hogged another spot. So in case Mum goes one day, then they come in together. Maybe we should just buy a few more spots and hog the whole lot.
Limited supply of land.
Limited supply of land. Absolutely. I know we've got one spot for Mum, but I don't know whether we've got enough spot for the rest of the gang, and we'll have to figure that bit out a bit later.
Fair enough. So that was the tail end of year 12, right? Is that correct?
Yeah.
Tail end of year 12. Okay. And then you graduated, I'm assuming, with flying colors.
Oh,
Janice?
No. I screwed up.
Okay,
I'll tell you. I miscalculated. So basically, back then, the subjects probably don't make sense anymore. So in year 12, I did calculus, applicable maths. I did physics, chemistry, English, just basic English. I actually begged to stay in ESL there, like, no chance. And then like, why don't you go straight to English or literature? I'm like, I don't want to do that. That seems how it works. How about I just plonk myself just in normal English? That would do. And then also did Japanese because I didn't want it to do anything to do with business or economics, which backfired now. Okay. But then, so I did those subjects and I estimated that the top 4 subject score would have been chemistry, physics, applicable maths, and Japanese or something.
Yeah.
Then I bombed out in chemistry. So then calculus counted and I only spent half a day studying calculus. So then I missed out. Back then, there is this thing called the 400 Club because our TU score was ours 510. So I actually missed it by like 2 points.
Oh, no.
So if you go back to Willerton, the bloody stupid 400 Club doesn't have my name on it because I missed out by literally 2 points out of 510.
If only you studied just a little bit more.
Well, if only. And then I actually then entered into UWA because you have to do 1 year science at the time to then fight for the spot to get into the dentistry.
Okay.
And then when we went to UWA, I did chemistry and we found out what happened. It's because we met the person, the chemistry professor who set the year 12 paper the year before, the one that I set. And they thought it would be very funny if they just set a really, really difficult chemistry exam and just see what happens. Not very funny for so many people who just rested upon chemistry was going to count and it didn't count. So that I found out that it wasn't just me.
It was everyone.
Like everyone bombed out. Okay. Of course, not Claire, my lovely friend. But then, yes, but everyone else bombed out. That year, because it was literally one of those exams you just walked out and you don't even feel bad anymore because it doesn't matter what you do, you would have bombed it anyway.
It's very fatalistic, right?
So that was what happened. So no, I didn't do as good as I want, but doesn't matter. I guess I just want to do dentistry, and I didn't even have to get a very high score to do science. At the time, I got into like science, which you need to do before even dentistry. I got into engineering. I got into a few other, but that I turned it all down. Okay, I said, no, I'm going to risk it. I'm going to do 1 year science, and I'm going to fight for the spot to do dentistry. And then I realized I submitted the enrollment at UWA, and there was the form has a little line saying, do you want to get into medicine or dentistry? And there's a little box when you enroll into science.
Okay.
And then when I handed in, the woman was like, oh my God, you tick that box too. And I'm like, how many people tick that box? Everyone ticked the box. So it ended up 600 people doing science and everyone wants to do dentistry. And they only accepted 20. So it meant that we have to fight to get to those 20 spots. So that was game on first year science. So that was, yeah. Because back then, dentistry, they only accepted 30 people per year, 20 from this kind of entry, 10 mature age students. And that was it.
Okay. Well, by my rudimentary maths, that's 3.33%. That is not much at all. That is crazy. Wow. And okay, so why dentistry? Like, because you could have done anything, as you mentioned.
As I said, I was always very interested in human anatomy. So even though I got into like engineering and all the other stuff or law, I'm just not interested. So I'm not even going to take it, even though I've got into those professions. So it has to be something with human science. It has to be that.
Yeah.
And dentistry, you have to be quite good with your art and craft skills. And building things is really engineering in the mouth.
Okay.
I always describe, particularly as a prosthodontist, I'm thinking about biomechanics, how to build them, what is the tensile strength of this, what is the fracture toughness of this, how do I bond things on, how do things put together, how it resists the forces. Is really, for my scope, is engineering, but inside the mouth. And so really dentistry became an obvious choice when I love the human anatomy.
Yeah.
I'm putting my hand skills. You need to be good with art and craft and design. And also you need to have some sort of engineering mindset to build things.
Right.
So
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I know. Like, so it's a very different kind of aspect. When you think about dentistry, it's a lot of this skill set. So which I'm actually super thankful because Microsoft recently came out with some publication and outlined 40 jobs that will get replaced with AI and 40 that wouldn't. And prosthodontist, which no one even knows what it is one of the 40 that will not.
Yeah.
because it's highly customized and you have to apply all those elements for the case to go well. So thank goodness, okay, that I somehow landed in the dental specialty, aside from the other one, which is oromaxillofacial surgery. So now two particular specialty. Microsoft, don't know why, labeled it as one of the 40 that will not get replaced by AI.
Well,
Thank goodness I have got a career to keep going for a little. But yeah, so I think the dentistry therefore became a natural choice. I ruled out engineering, ruled out law, ruled out all the other stuff.
Okay.
And I think in hindsight that would have been good, because when I think about it, let's say if I did scrape into medicine, okay, well, I'll be really at the bottom of the deck of the group of geniuses who might be doing medicine. But then if I'm the top 20 people who got to dentistry, then we're top of the deck. I mean, psychologically, okay, like, I mean, there's a lot of about mindset, right?
Correct.
So what would I be better off? And I think dentistry also offers a bigger opportunity to run your own business, operate, and also more flexible perhaps in hours, because we don't have to do on-calls.
Right.
Okay, so I think, so there's definitely perks.
They're very perks
With it, which now in our life, you're like, okay, that was actually ended up being a good choice.
A good choice. And look, like, you know, there is that chapter of your life that we will very soon get to when it comes to the, you know, the other side of dentistry, right, which is the business side. But to get to there, right, so you had to do how many years in university?
So all up, undergraduate, those 5 years, 1 year science, 4 years dentistry.
Okay.
And because they condensed the dentistry course from 5 to 4 years, we have no holidays.
Right.
We have no breaks. So everyone gets study break. No, we didn't get study break. Mid-year, you get 1 month off or 3 weeks off? No, you get 1 week off. And I still remember my very final year, last year of dentistry, finished seeing patients on the Friday. Exam starts Monday. And there were 10 exams, one a day. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Weekend off. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
Yeah.
And so 10 exams back to back, no study break. You just, that was grueling.
The life of
many cups of bubble tea during that period of time.
Is that what got you through?
Putting up so much weight. Everyone, because bubble tea just came to Perth.
Yeah.
Everyone just kept buying bubble tea and just sucking up with sugar.
What was it? I think it was like, was it Utopia? Like, was that the brand?
That was
like
first and only.
First and only for a very long time.
I know. The first mover.
Yeah.
Fantastic business idea.
Yeah.
Who would thought? But then, we definitely bought a lot of bubble tea and survived in the Met Library studying like for those exams. Practically lived there. Yeah, so that was that. So 5 years for undergrad.
Yeah.
I then worked as a general dentist for 7 years.
Yeah.
And then I actually went to a conference in Las Vegas. And I watched live surgery. Well, not live, as in obviously they zoomed it in, okay? And they were showcasing a case where they had to put 5 dental implants in someone's leg bone and sectioned that leg bone out, transformed it into a bottom jaw to replant it onto someone's lower jaw to recreate it because they lost a jaw from cancer.
From the leg?
From the leg, yep. So when I watched the surgery, I'm like, oh my God, okay, I'm only 7 years out of dentistry and I don't know anything about dental implants, because back then it's not actually part of the curriculum, which is a bit daunting, but that's another separate issue. So then when I saw that on stage, I was feeling, oh my God, I've 7 years out. I don't know anything about this. And was going to be a tax deductible holiday, ended up thinking, oh no, I think I need to upskill. And then at that conference, they also brought Dr. Phil from Oprah on stage for a chat.
That book?
Wow. The actual Dr. Phil.
Oh, right.
And I remember with my best friend, we had an ice cream. We went to the front row, sitting there watching Dr. Phil. And Dr. Phil said at the time, this time next year, your life will only be better or worse. It will never be exactly the same. So you need to decide whether it'll be better or worse, and you need to start making a change now. And at that moment, I just freaked out. I'm like, oh no, okay, I'm falling behind dentistry already, and I'm 7 years out. And yes, since this time next year, it's not going to get any better. What do I do? So then I made a decision, oh, maybe I need to specialize. So after I got back from the States, I had decided to sit a set of exams. We call it the Royal Australasian College of Dental Surgeon primary exams. And usually people spend a year preparing to study for the exams. They go to the college to spend a whole week listening to some lectures.
Yep.
Then they spend a whole year studying for the exams. Then they sit the exams, which is a combination of written paper and also vivas, like face-to-face, like people,
Yep.
like
Oral
examination.
Yep, oral examination.
But by the time I got back, it was already, I think, August. The exam was going to have to happen, I think, around November, December, January, or something like that. And I never went to the lectures the year before.
Okay.
And I'm like, what am I going to do? So I just called up the college and I go, can I just buy the CD, which you have the lecture slides? But I never actually went to the lectures. I just bought the slides. No, the college is going to get angry because obviously I managed to get through the exam without going to the lectures. I bought the CD and I started studying based on just slides and made up the notes. So after work, on the weekend, pumping out the notes, just guessing what they might have talked about.
Yeah.
And then I set the exams. And funny enough, there were 6 subjects, and I got commendations for 5 out of 6.
Wow.
And I didn't even know there was such a thing for commendations because one study buddy said to me, "Oh, it sounds like you've done really good. You might get commendations." I'm like, "What commendations?" I just needed to pass, and the only subject I didn't get commendation was biochemistry, literally because the CD only had 3 pictures on it. I had absolutely no idea.
Okay.
What I talked about.
Blame the CD.
Lectures.
Terrible CDs.
They're like, no, there's no lecture notes.
No lecture notes.
Literally just like a few diagrams, and I had to guess what they possibly could have talked about. So, so I sat those exams, which is a kind of a prerequisite criteria to then apply to dental specialty.
Got it.
And dental specialty is very different to medical specialty. You actually have to quit your job completely, go to the university and study full-time for another 3 years.
Right.
Whereas medical, they get paid as a hospital registrar and then they can study and get paid at the same time. But no, dental specialty, I think it's quite unique. You quit your job and you go back and work for free and also have to pay them, obviously. And for 3 years straight. Go back to school for full time. So, and so 3 years, did 3 years. So I finished at the end of 2011.
Okay.
Now, come to think of it now, it's now 14 years since I graduated as a prosthodontist. Until the recent degree that I did, which is the senior executive MBA. Another 18 months. Who would have thought? Every time you finish your last exam, you go, I remember this moment. This is the last exam. No more. And then you somehow forget the pain and you go back to do another degree and sit more exams.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
Yeah. So that was the transition into the dental specialist.
Dental specialist.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. So I think this is a really good time for me to ask you, because I'm sure there's a lot of people that are dying to know, and they also trying to figure out, right? So how I have health insurance, I go to the dentist twice a year and I do my regular cleaning scales, etc., right? How would you describe the difference between that type of dentist experience, right, compared to what you do?
Okay. So a prosthodontist, I'll start off explaining what is a prosthodontist first. Okay, so a prosthodontist, we specialize in replacing missing teeth and support structure, even maybe missing bone, missing gums in a way, with prosthetic means. And also we restore broken, decayed teeth. There is also an element of it if that patients have had trauma from accidents or even from cancer. There's a subspecialty maxillofacial prosthodontics, okay, which basically prosthetics of the eye, the face, that region, okay, there is a separate subspecialty. So pretty much what our job is when patients have very, very serious dental problems with multiple worn down and broken, decayed teeth, multiple missing teeth, serious jaw misaligned relationships, okay, and also if they have really high expectation of the aesthetic or the cosmetic outcome, then that is the scope, or that is the dental specialty that prosthodontists are specifically trained to diagnose, plan, and to treat. So that is what our job is.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying is, like, when you think about it, for undergrad, you learn how to do root canal, you learn how to do a scalp and clean, you learn how to do maybe some basic orthodontic and then some fillings, and also they can do some crowns, denture, you know, and bridge, that kind of stuff. That is all very well because there's not enough prosthodontists, okay, to support the entire public. Of course, we need good general dentists who can do that. But once it gets to the point where it's so complicated, we're not talking about a single crown anymore. We're not talking about just a bridge or one implant, or certain things may be done and the problem keeps coming back. It's like, oh my God, I feel like I'm always at a dentist all the time and they've got this and now there's this problem. It's because the situation is a lot more complicated. It means that the problem is not limited to that one tooth or one isolated issue. There's something underlying, okay? And so what those people would need is a really comprehensive diagnosis to check. I myself, like, things that we also check, like, okay, or everything is broken down, okay, or you're missing multiple teeth, but why did it happen in the first place? Is it because you have a clench and grinding habit, your bite is not straight? Is it because there's something wrong with your saliva production? Because saliva is important to prevent decay and also to help reduce the rate of tooth wear, because if the mouth is really dry, there's a lot of friction. And also if the pH of the saliva is really acidic and the diet is very acidic, or there's other medical conditions, okay, that will complicate things that general dentistry may not be able to resolve, or you get it done and the problem keeps coming. It's just not getting, like, you know, resolved once and for all. Okay, I wouldn't say once and for all. Like, that takes a lot of maintenance. Then what a prosthodontist's job is to actually look at all the underlying cause, diagnose them properly, and not just treat the result of a problem, but treat the cause that's caused the problem in the first place. And so we go through a lot of meticulous, like, checking of all these things and coming up with a very comprehensive plan, prioritizing those things that need to be fixed and do it properly. And that is a technical skills and experience, okay, which is hard. Okay, I mean, doing maybe one crown might be simple. Let's try doing 10. Okay, it's a different ball game. Okay, let's do the whole set of veneers. Okay, what if the bite is not right? Your veneer starts pinging off, starts breaking. Okay, what if the tooth is very dark underneath? Well, how is the veneer going to block out the color? Takes a lot of skills to be able to navigate those. And then after that, most important thing is maintaining. Is to, after you've solved all those problems, you've diagnosed it well, you planned it well, executed it to as good as the perfection as dentistry can offer, then you need to have a program to maintain it, to make sure the result is sustained and you don't go back to square one. So if you don't plan things and don't diagnose it properly at the start, you're going to miss things, and which means your plan didn't address all the things that were needed to be addressed. Then your result is not going to last. And it's not. So I think the hard part with prosthodontics is, it's hard because people may not differentiate. So, oh, okay, well, my dentist does a crown, or so does a prosthodontist. So what's the difference? Okay, well, that is the difference. It depends on how complicated the case is.
Yep.
And if your situation is simple, definitely see the general dentist. But if you're finding that the problem is repeating again and again, and you've got just so many problems, or your expectation is super high, that you want the most qualified person, most trained person, okay, but actually gone back 3 years full time to learn and gone for rigorous examinations to pass as a prosthodontist,
Yep.
then pretty much seeing the dental specialist or a prosthodontist will be where it could go for certain cases. And so I would, probably the easiest way to explain to patients is like, you've got a heart problem, okay? And yes, you can go to your medical doctor and they can give you some heart medication, but you will not be expecting your doctor to do anything overly complicated, like or doing specific procedure or specific surgery or whatnot, or go higher level, deeper digging into what combinations of medication maybe is this and that. You have to go and see the cardiologist.
Yeah.
So that's one thing that the medical world
Got it.
has really done really well, defining the difference between the medical doctors or general practitioners versus the the medical specialists.
It's very clear.
Very clear. But then in dentistry, because dentists are trained to do also a root canal, also to do a clean, also to do a bit of braces, also to do a general dentistry, restorative crowns and things, then people sometimes don't know, well, why do I need to see a gum specialist? Or why do I need to see an oral surgeon? My dentist can take out a tooth too. Or why do I need to see a prosthodontist? And that differentiation, it's not so clear in the dental world sometimes. At least in the mind of the general public. They don't know what the difference is. And then at the same time, we have got dentists, like, and as with any field, you've got dentists or any professional who may do basic stuff, ranging to those professionals who can do the more advanced stuff because everyone has different attitude, aptitude, and capacity, right? Okay, there's a huge range.
Yes.
But at what point does, let's say, a patient's presentation exceed the ability of a general dentist to treat? And general dentist, one person versus the next one might be very different. And they might see themselves, well, I can do this, or actually I can't. So that kind of decision process lies with usually the general dentist. So that's also why a lot of the general public don't really know what the difference is being a general dentist to a dental specialist. But what I've just described is pretty much the situation at the moment. And I mean, there is a place and you know, the right situation for everyone. Surely if you just need a basic single filling and it's going clean every 6 months, you're not going to see the gum specialist or not going to see a prosthodontist. So we are pretty much trained to see the complicated cases and also those who have extremely high expectation that they want to really try and get the best result the first go. And I think the hard part for us is often we see the end point of a patient, which is the frustrating part. It's just one of the pet peeve. We see patients when they're in such bad shape that really should have been seen much earlier on. I'll much rather see a clean case. Okay, things are broken, things are worn down, a few teeth are broken already, no one's touched it. Okay, I start from fresh. Then something has already been done and then maybe not done well, some done well, don't know, combination of everything. And then us trying to go back in and fix up the pieces, that becomes a lot harder. And I think the other element of it is not just the technical, it's the emotional weight on the psychological component of the patient. A lot of these patients, if they have got such bad dental problems, it has been quite stressful for them for a long time. So as an emotional and a psychological component, these patients can feel very, stressed, hopeless, depressed about the situation, embarrassed. And so the hard part is not just managing the teeth part, it's the patient as a whole. They may not be very trusting because maybe perhaps previously they had certain problems and then they have spent the money and time trying to get it fixed and it didn't work out, and then this tooth broke again and then a tooth had to come out. So they have a lot of built up mistrust
of the system.
Issues, of the system. And so once you get to that point and then you're the last person and then you're trying to go, okay, we've got all these dental problems, okay, and this is how we're going to fix. It's not just navigating the dental clinical part, okay, which is hard on its own, but is how do you help support the patient? How do you build up the rapport and trust again? Because it is complex. So what happens is obviously we will do our best, and no doctors will be able to go out there and guarantee, when you have this heart surgery is going to have 100% success rate. No one will. No one can, even though we aim for that. So whilst it's all very good if everything works out, that's fantastic and that's what we aim for. But then there's just certain things we can't fix. It's a biological system, is a human body. Sometimes the nerve and artery may not react the way we want. The bone may not stay where we want it to be, so on and so forth. And then so when things work out well, good. Look after it, great. But then certain times it may not go exactly as planned. And then if they don't have that level of trust, if we don't build that trust and make sure it's strong, it becomes a lot of even more angst when things. So I think that is probably one aspect of prosthodontics that people don't talk about so much.
Because you are the last line of defense. It feels like you're the last line of defense. Like beyond prosthodontist, right? There is no one else you can go to. Is that correct?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then they probably build up all this feelings of frustration or other types of emotions, and of course incorrectly, maybe sometimes take it out.
If
you don't mind me saying, because if you want to be completely honest, it feels
happens,
like that way.
And I remember having a patient one time, and this was the first time I've seen her. I've never even met her before. She actually went overseas and had some work done, and it didn't work out. And we were just trying to diagnose it, and this is what we need to do. And she got very angry, and she literally took it out on me and my staff. Even though this is the first time I've ever met you, I'm just put the deliverer of the bad news and how we're going to navigate it. And then she kind of got really upset and resentful. It's because the Australian dentists, they don't know what they're doing. They're charging this amount of money. And that's why I went overseas. And that's why it didn't work out. And somehow I'm just trying to help because I've never seen her or treated her before, then I got lashed out at. And these situations do happen. And how do you navigate that psychologically? How do you handle that? So that's what I'm saying. It's not just a clinical expertise, but you need to have some experience in managing patients' psychological aspect as well.
Yep.
Being very calm and collected and try to hold the hands and navigate through. And at the same time whilst being supportive, you also need to be very objective in the way and the approach you treat things, because obviously when these kind of things happen, no one likes to get
bad news.
Yeah, bad news and whatnot. But then as a prosthodontist, we also don't want to take all the negativity home, right?
Yeah.
So as a health profession, even doctors and nurses, and they would
every day.
When they're bad news delivered patients, and then they'll try not to take that negativity home. And so I think some people underestimate, kind of it's not just the technical, but the emotional weight of what we do as of our job. And of course, we've got fantastic dentists as well who do absolutely amazing work. And I think there is a place for everyone. So they will be usually managing more general scope of dentistry. And in the ideal world, that's how it works. And there will be a cohort of patients that are beyond the capability or scope and need other dental specialists. It may not just be prosthodontics, maybe other dental specialty. And so they need to really see those people who have that kind of specialized training and also the experience to navigate these kind of issues, to go and see them. And then we can collaborate as well. I think I truly believe that is how it'll be best for the patient to get the best outcome.
Exactly. I was about to ask, if you have any kind of guidance, right? If someone was listening on the podcast, watching, and then they are in this situation, right? How best to kind of navigate this? I think you definitely need to trust your dentist's judgment.
At the same time, you also need to go a little bit by your gut feel as well. And it's hard to give advice over a podcast what you should do. But I think I explained it at least what is available out there. And I think it's to equip others to ask the questions. So if you have a certain situation, certain problem, and you've liaised with your dentist, they will make the recommendation. And if you've got any concerns, go, how about this, how about that? Then it is also the general dentist's job to answer those questions, okay, and guide you in the right path. And I think that's probably the best way I could put it.
Yeah.
So, but then I suppose if people don't even know that dental specialists exist, then pretty much they don't know to ask the questions. And we have got plenty of good dentists who will refer, and that's why I have a practice, because we are referral-based practice, okay, just like the cardiologist, okay, and the medical doctor will refer to the cardiologist, and that pretty much works here. I mean, surely, yes, I do have patients who find their way without a referral, okay, but that's definitely a minority for us. Not that is not possible. Usually, we would prefer if the patients actually see the general dentist, because there's definitely a lot of scope that they cover. And if there's certain issues and certain things that they cannot address, or then obviously then the discussion will be had, okay, where to from here? And then I think that, and then having the dentist screening and doing what they are capable of and making the judgment call, I mean, that is still, to me, the best way.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay. You mentioned about the practice that you've opened up, right? So we'll touch on that a little bit. But I think from the way that you've been talking about it, you can start to feel that passion, coming out. Oh, yeah, I can. Especially when you start to explain, all the intricacies of your profession, right? The duty of care, I feel, sits very highly within you. Would that be fair? The duty of care.
I always have a saying. The term is healthcare. So a health professional must care. That's not is an obligation. Okay, it is very dangerous if you have a health profession who doesn't care. Then that is really not what we're here for. So I think duty of care is first and foremost, and I always have a mantra, and that is do the right thing and do the right way. It seems easy, but not always. But if we still always should strive for it. And that is how I have always operated, trying to always do the right thing and do it the right way. And that applies to not just dentistry, but in other aspects of what you do with your life.
Yep.
And I think that is really, really important. Yeah, so that's how I think that duty of care comes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So, you reach this pinnacle when it comes to your specialty, right? As a prosthodontist, what made you go down a path of, I guess, opening your own practice, right? And then that whole business journey, because not all dentists or prosthodontists will go down that path.
No. It's increasingly getting harder and harder. The thing is, what happened was when I first graduated, actually before I graduated, I actually, as a prosthodontist, I got offered a job to stay in Melbourne, okay, to work as an associate for one very prominent prosthodontist group on Collins Street in Melbourne. And at the time, because the grandparents were all in Perth and there was the mining boom in the heydays, and my husband is an engineer. He was a risk manager at Woodside and then Chevron, one of those.
Yeah.
And so what then happened was, okay, well, we should move back to Perth, because if we happen to start a family, we need family help. And his career is based here. So I'm like, okay, then so we made a decision to move back, for me to move back. We then looked into maybe joining another prosthodontic practice, but then that didn't work quite well. And then so we subsequently decided to open my own. And that was very scary, because it's not like people walk off the street to see you. You're very much relying on people to refer to you. Okay. And because I've been out in Melbourne studying for 3 years, I haven't got those relationships or established referral base. You literally started nothing, so you start from scratch. So we decided to start our own practice, and my practice started with just one nurse and one receptionist and me. It was 3 people. And so that's how we started. And I still remember, we threw out the marketing to sending out referral pads and business cards ahead of time. I was walking along Swanston Street outside the dental hospital, And I got a phone call because the phone got diverted to my mobile. And it was a dentist from Christmas Island calling me up to try to book a patient in.
Right.
And the practice hasn't even completely fitted out yet.
Wow.
So back then, well, because it was just me and 2 other staff members, and we just started out, luckily, maybe there was also a short supply of prosthodontists back then, or someone wanted to get someone in sooner because the other prosthodontists are busy.
Yep.
And maybe back then, also pretty much most dentists, they don't do dental implant work as yet, which now they pretty much everyone does.
Yep.
The climate was very different. And so I started my practice on my own, and I've managed to break even within first month. But I was also joking that if it didn't work out, I will sneak over to my best friend's place and make dentures for her because she hates making dentures for a patient. And I'll work there part-time until I could make ends meet. Thank God I didn't have to do that. So then that was how I started. So obviously books started getting busy. And the time I didn't, my books weren't busy, then I'll be creating protocols, performer forms, and systems to make the practice work better and training my nurse and my receptionist. Also, when I first got back, I visited some of the other dental specialists to build up some relationship. And that's how it happened. So that was like 14 years ago.
So that's 20...
That was end of 2011.
Yep.
So that was how that happened. And it's strange because now when I think back, okay, we have now gone from just me, one prosthodontist and one nurse, one receptionist, and we are now the largest prosthodontist group in Australia. So including me, let me think, there are 6 prosthodontists, soon to be 7th prosthodontists starting next year.
In your center?
In my center. Okay, and we spread in 3 locations. So we still primarily based in South Perth.
Yep.
And then we also got a satellite practice in Midland and also one in Karrinyup. And managed to also attract, and I have to say, amongst us, we really have got some superstars of our field. And funny enough, Perth has traditionally been one of the top dental implant places in the world. And you wouldn't think, okay, why good old Perth? We're so remote. So what happened was back in the very early 80s, and there were 4 centers around the world, one in Switzerland, one in the US, I think one in Perth, don't quote me on this, and then another, I can't quite remember where, I think may have been Sweden or Germany. And they were doing dental implant research, trying to ensure that like bits can be rolled out to dental use. Because, I mean, the very first like discovery of titanium alloy being able to use as implants was done by orthopedic surgeon.
Right.
Okay, and was planning for knee joints and hip joints.
Yeah.
And all that, then for hold on a second, this is fantastic if we use it for dentistry. So it got adopted. So the first case of a full arch dental implant was done in 1965. But then in the early 80s, and prior to that, it's still very much a specialist doing it and researching it. Yeah. And so Perth, which is one of the places called Brandemark Centre, which still exists, obviously not the original person, okay, because he's now retired, okay, but then it has got taken over by also a couple of my colleagues, different practice called Brandemark Centre. And then so that centre was one of the 4 Brandemark centres around the world that was doing dental implant research and working on patients.
Got it.
So strangely, and we've also got some absolute top periodontists, okay, in Perth who is doing dental implant research, absolutely well-renowned. So you think it's strange, good old little Perth have got all these really top caliber. Like it is astounding. And I'm just glad that amongst us, okay, there's like, well, soon to be 7. And with not just us, but then our network, okay, because obviously I was trained in Australia, okay, in UWA, then after that, University of Melbourne. But amongst our group, we've got prosthodontists who were trained in South Africa and also some who have subsequently gone to the US and Harvard, Loma Linda, and some trained in UK. So, and New Zealand. So basically with that diverse kind of background and also all the network of the other dental specialists around the world that we know. So if we get a case and it's like, oh my God, this is getting quite complicated. Like, how am I going to navigate it? We obviously can talk to each other, but we also can reach out to our buddies in anywhere around the world, in Europe, US, you name it.
Yep.
Okay. And then we can pinch the ideas. What do you think? How should I do this? And like, you know, do you have any ideas? Have you seen cases like this? How did you navigate it? So on and so forth. So pretty much, I would dare say, if a patient comes to us and if we can't help them, it's because there's really no treatment options left for that person. And we will know. And if there's some amazing technique that is coming out of Turkey and that person can do it, we can at least tell, okay, there is this guy in Turkey who can do it, okay, and we can direct you there.
Got it.
Yeah, so that's why I think as a group that we can offer a lot because of that diverse background and the network. It's not just the one person you're seeing.
Yeah. Well, you should be very proud, like, you know, what you built, like, you know, Janice. So
it's as I said, I never look back and think about proud. It happened with hard work and it happened very organically.
Yeah.
And I think the reason why we all kind of came together, because why it's hard to have a dental specialist or specialist group is we're all very technically trained. And if we are trained with different background, different philosophy, the whole group of dental specialists or the specialists needs to really be aligned. And that is probably the hardest part. So it's very rare to see a big specialist group, like, or a dental specialist group is almost unheard of because everyone needs to agree with each other or align with each other or get along with each other. It's difficult. And I think for us, I was just very lucky.
Yep.
And I mean, yes, it's not such thing as luck because luck comes to those who are prepared and then ready to snatch the opportunity. But I think people who know me and know my values, know the way I work, I think it must be doing something and resonating with others. So therefore, people come and join. And when they join, they stay. So one of the prosthodontists, he graduated a year after me. He worked with us. Well, we worked together. And then he went to the US. And then when he came back to Perth, he rejoined. So basically, I mean, we must be doing hopefully something right. Okay. And we do have a reputation because no prosthodontist is going to want to join someone who's reputationally not good, technical or from a business sense. But then for people to come back and join and stay, I'm hoping like that it speaks like about what I'm like. I mean, at the end of the day, like with any organization, okay, the organization will reflect the leader, the owner of what that person is like, because that person becomes like an archetype for the actual organizations. And I'm hoping that maybe the way I lead is resonated with them, and therefore it attracted the talents that it did. And we actually all going out for dinner tonight, whole group of prosthodontists and the other halves. So to do a catch up and hopefully not talking about dentistry and not talking about something else.
Yeah.
Because dentistry is a very siloed profession. We're always stuck in our room, lucky to go past, hey, how's it going today? Oh, see you later. I've got to run. Like, because we're stuck in our surgery. So that is a huge thing that I need to encourage to do team building, because we're really high paced and locked in our rooms all the time.
Yeah. No, that's absolutely fair. And I mean, not just pride, but it's also very remarkable, right? What you have achieved, because not only do you have the reputation, right, from a specialist point of view, not only have you actually founded and now manage one of the largest prosthodontist groups, right? Not only are you female, not only are you Chinese, which is non-Caucasian in Australia, right? How has that reshaped you? You know what I mean? Like I can see it. Like it's.
Well, the thing is, this is interesting.
I had to touch on that because a lot of people...
Like, people do ask, right? Like, I mean, there's always DEI stuff floating around. I mean, absolutely. Dentistry is a very interesting profession because everything is merit-based. If you're good at what you do, if you're capable, you get the job, okay? So I don't know about the selection criteria right now and the student intake. I have no idea whether they have a criteria of gender or criteria of ethnic or whatnot. But back in the days, literally, it was just merit based. You got the score. There was not even an interview round. You got the score, you got in, and that was it.
Oh.
Okay. In my dental class, we were actually very diverse. Like, I would say half the class is ethnic at least, which is very different to when I was at my high school days. And we literally have everyone from every single corner of the world. Okay. And there was 30 of us.
Yeah.
It was completely diverse. And gender balance was great too, okay, in my class. And funny enough, because they didn't select us based on that, but it just happened by score. We, boom, went into it like that. In my situation, merit is one thing. In terms of the female thing, because the selection criteria wasn't to do with female, so that didn't really count, and ethnic didn't count. And I didn't realize this until much later, that perhaps, and I would like to think it's more merit-based, but perhaps because I am a female and also Chinese, and now I'm dental specialist, and I definitely have been given the opportunity to take some leadership role and speak on stage by previous female leaders in our field who pushed me forward, who saw the potential in me to push me forward. And then when I got up there, I just did what my usual is. I never saw myself as a person of color or a gender. I'm just like, my identity has always been, I'm a dental specialist. I never saw that as a obstacle or limitation. And then it wasn't until approximately about 3 years ago when I was at a prosthodontist conference, and I had some female postgrad students come up to me and say, oh, we've heard so much about you. You're very inspiring, you know, and as a woman and then you're doing this. And I suddenly just dawned on me. I'm like, oh my God, like having color or gender and being standing on stage, presenting or moderating or whatnot or hosting. I gave someone a face, a representation that they wanted that I didn't know that I was offering other people. And I was only made aware of it when they came to me and told me, and this was literally just a few years ago. And then I'm suddenly realized, okay, that's very nice. And I've never really thought, well, what do I do with it? And I think whilst people might say, oh, you got to where you got to because you ticked the boxes, you know what? I got to where I'm what to, I would like to think is merit, but if it's partly because I ticked the boxes, I don't care. I got to where I got to. So I'm not really like worried about how people, because to me, those positions, if you're not capable, doesn't matter how you tick the boxes, you need to be able to talk the talk and walk the walk. You need to be able to do the work. And I think that is something that I've never realized had me, but then I think now that I can actually inspire and lead, and I need to push to give other people with good capacity and merit, if they are disadvantaged because of the color, because of the gender, I will fight for them. So therefore, there is equal exposure. I just never realized I represented that until someone told me. Because I like to think, I see this is what I'm thinking. I'm a very naive person. I just think the world is fair. Like, I got to do it. I'd never thought about it. And the other flip side that it has helped me is some patients actually seek me out. Oh, I came to see you because you're Chinese. Because you are one of the smart ones. You know, I've had that too. So I'm like, okay, well, if just looking Chinese helps, okay, well, then I can look Chinese for you.
Yeah.
Okay, so like it never. I just being the female and the ethnic and the Chinese thing, I have not found it to limit me at all in my professional career. If in fact it advanced me, and I'm like, well, maybe we are suppressed for many years, and then I happen to land in this position, and I may as well just enjoy the moment. And but I do feel that if others have that capacity, okay, of course, then the equal opportunities should be given to them. And I think in our field, prosthodontics has always been a very male-dominated field for many years. I remember When I
Yeah.
was a postgrad, literally there was 170 prosthodontists in the room at a conference, and there were only 10 females, and I was one of them. But now I think the percentages have changed. So it's probably about, 30-40%. I haven't really recently checked until maybe I go to the conference next year and see how many female faces I see in there. Okay.
Yeah.
But then, I think it is changing. I think the hard part in dentistry, though, is because it's a flexible job, a lot of the females also exit once they start family. And I think that is an issue, not just with dentistry, but a lot of other professions. And so if you were able to get to this leadership role, and then if the situation with family support, whatnot, ends up meaning they exit or step back in their career, then it's very hard to sustain the females in their leadership role ongoingly. And I'm just very, very lucky that my husband provides me with so much support at home that I can continue on pursue my career like how I would have been able to if I didn't have a family or if I didn't have a child.
So the partner is really important to
Oh,
you.
absolutely.
Yeah, okay.
Absolutely.
Okay,
Yeah. So I think that the dynamic dictates how it may be perceived as well. I think. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think it's really important to recognize what you have achieved. And look, I think this is a perfect time because we've gone on for a very long time, and thank you so much. Appreciate.
I haven't been checking the time. I hope you're running with time.
Amazing. I thank you so much. Right? Maybe we'll have to get you back onto to this podcast next time. But I do want to kind of just finish up and let you really have the last word. And if there's anything that you wanted to share that we haven't yet covered in, right? Just quickly to the audience, this is your opportunity. Yeah, please.
I think for every path you take, it is very important to really slow down, not just jump to solution mode, and actually have a think and reflect a bit more. And more recently, because I've done the Senior Executive MBA, that's given me a lot of time to step outside my dental practice and mingle with a whole bunch of professions who've got nothing to do with dentistry, to actually learn again and to reflect on what we have done with our career and how do we move forward. And it definitely has been a very transformative moment. I had a bit of a difficulty kind of experiencing an identity change. And I think for other people who are listening to this, you may have identified yourself as this person and this role, and that's forever how you're going to be. But I do not feel that is what will confine you, because your life can actually change if you think outside and experience outside your little tower. And I think that was definitely something that has happened for me, because when I see my profession now, I'm now seeing beyond just my business and my practice. What I really want to do is not just be part of a change. I want to start leading the change, and that will be how am I going to be able to contribute on a greater scale beyond the practice to community, to really upskill and train general dentists, okay, so they can do better. And I'm thinking not just on the technical aspect, because a lot of us are trained that way. And so that leaves a fairly big blind spot on all the other skills that we need to be successful clinicians, such as culture, communication skills, leadership skills. And I feel that a lot of us are lacking that in our profession because we've just been trained and epitomize that technique, and then clinical skills is everything, is how we benchmark how good a clinician is.
Some more well-roundedness.
Yeah, we do need more well-roundedness. And now that I've kind of saw a glimpse of the world outside and realizing there's so much more than the technical skills, which of course that you still need to hone in, you still need to be good at it. But there's actually a lot more. And I think for me and my organization, I'm hoping that the new skills beyond the usual, it's going to help it grow. And I want to also inspire other people to look beyond their technical expertise and actually look into upskilling other things that they may have overlooked or thought not important, because I think that is actually what's going to advance us in the future. So I think that's like something that I think I want to communicate. And again, with everything is keep working hard, grit, responsibility, purpose, all grounded in good value.
Yeah.
And I think that will drive, and definitely focus and like in your own game. Focus in doing what you think is right and just cut out the noise. Okay, because
don't get distracted.
Okay, you can always watch what the other people are doing in the lane. Oh, look how good they're doing. I'm going to copy them. I'm going to do this. No, but you really need to sit down and think what your primary focus and purpose is, and focus in your own lane and swim it hard and swim it well.
Yeah.
And that's what you're going to get through,
yeah.
I think. Yeah.
Okay. Well, on that note, right, thank you again, Janice, right? It was amazing. I really appreciate it. And I think a lot of the listeners and the watchers also do so as well. So for all those watching recently, hope you enjoyed that episode. And until next time, I'll catch you in the next one. Thank you so much. Thank you.